No Jumper, coolest podcast in the world. And today, with little to no, what do you call it? What do you call it when you like introduce somebody? Fanfare? No, but I don't want to say no fanfare because that makes it sound like I'm shitting on you.
No introduction needed.
No introduction needed. That's what I should have said. That's not insulting.
Nah, that feels good. I might need a little introduction though.
Nah, you might need a little introduction, but we'll get to that. Timothy DeLaGhetto, how you doing?
What's up, dog? I'm chilling. What's up?
I apologize for the fact that it's fucking dripping in here.
You know what? I'm okay. I feel all right.
So you feel that way? You can take the heat well?
Yeah, I got like a high pain tolerance. I mean, not pain. I got pain tolerance too, but I got a high heat tolerance. You know, I feel like since I started living with my wife this past year, like she used to be really cold all the time.
Really?
And so the longer I lived with her, I feel like I've kind of just adjusted to her heat, you know? So
interesting. Well, I mean, I think that's interesting because I've actually heard the AC is sexist. People say this. This is a real argument that people make because they're saying that men and women have different body temperatures. Obviously, the average man is bigger, sweats more, gets more tired, has a higher body temperature. So then men want the AC to be relatively low in comparison to women, but then women are out here freezing to death because they're like society tells them that they need to wear skirts, that they need to.
That makes sense, actually.
You know, it is kind of sexist.
Because when they're out, they got to be in the thin ass leggings and the tiny ass skirts and the little bitty clothes. They got to be naked all the time, so they need like a cold tolerance. Yeah, that makes sense.
And their body temperature is lower anyway because they weigh less than men on average. So AC really is kind of sexist. Isn't that crazy?
Huh.
What temperature is in your home? You're gonna go home tonight. What's the temperature gonna be?
When I go home, it's gonna be a nice little like 72.
72 is good.
No, you know what? It might even be upwards of like 75.
Really?
Not gonna lie. Once I start to get a little uncomfortable, then I might sneak it down to 72. But yeah, we're good.
There's people walking around here keeping their house at 69, and that to me is just.
69 is too low for me.
No.
Definitely. I mean, maybe when I was on my bachelor shit, I could tolerate some 69 degrees. But now that I've experienced just wife life, I'm at a 73 average. Yeah.
Let me ask you this: you seem like you're sort of self-censoring yourself on the podcast to a certain extent.
Am I?
I was listening to you talk, and I felt like whenever you were talking about some grimy sexual shit that you did back in the day, that it sort of seemed like you were kind of thinking like, "Baby, this didn't happen last week."
Oh, you talking about on my podcast?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, you know what the thing about it is that's not for her. That is for all the dumbass kids in the comments
who are going to try to make it into a thing.
Yeah, because she knows all my reckless shit happened in this crazy little year when I was doing my thing. It was like a year and a half.
What were you doing for the rest of your life? Were you in a monastery?
Well, the thing about it was when I was like, before I really like started like fucking, I was like kind of inexperienced. You know what I'm saying? I was in college, kind of dabbling here and there in the fucking life, right? And then I got into like a pretty substantial relationship for like 4 years, and then that ended, and I had like that was the year where not only was like I was like, okay, I've done some fucking, so I kind of know what I'm doing, but also like I was on tour, and my YouTube shit was kind of like really popping, and I was in a different city like every week, so I was not only was I openly single, but I was kind of down to just you
were getting clout top.
Yeah, lots of it.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's a strange period in a man's life for the first time when they're able to get sex from just who they are, from their work.
Yeah, dude. It was almost it was pretty like gross how easy it was. You know what I'm saying? And that was like that year of my life, and then I met my chick, and then now I'm married.
But do you feel like there's any sort of ethical qualms about sleeping with a fan?
I mean, look, the more the conversation goes now, where like people want to discuss like power dynamics and that kind of playing a part in, you kind of like it could be, manipulative if you wanted it to be. I think, but when I was doing it. It was just, I felt like it was all, everyone was grown, first of all.
See, that's the most important part, and you get that because of the world that you're in, it's not as much of a problem, because like if you're going to be going to a comedy club, you pretty much have to be an adult, whereas with a lot of the YouTubers and shit, it's like everybody knows that their fan base is hella young, and even if they are like, 18, 19, 20, whatever, it's like sometimes, some people develop slower, so some of these YouTubers might be kind of messing with people that maybe are not all there, even if they are old enough.
Well, YouTube fans are already kind of weird right off the bat. You feel me?
Those comments, you ever read those comments?
Motherfuckers are weird.
By the way, like, comment, and subscribe. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Please, and subscribe to my shit too.
Oh yes, that. He has way more than No Jumper.
The thing about it was I wasn't doing comedy tours. I was touring on some rap shit. You know what I'm saying?
Too. Okay.
Rap shit and and some funny shit here and there, but so it was kind of that scary YouTube world where, you know, these were like all ages shows sometimes. So it was crazy how reckless some of these youngins would talk, you know? So
really?
Yeah, so I would always make sure like from the jump be like, hey guys, you know, me and the homies definitely had some like, hey, show me your ID situations before anything went down, because we were not trying to get into that at all, you know?
No, totally. But the weird thing to me about going to rap shows, especially as like an adult where this is part of my job now, is how many people are just on crazy drugs in the middle of the week. And you're sort of like, you know, just standing there and like somebody want to take a photo with you, and then their eyes are rolling into the back of their head and they just are obviously on Xans or Molly or whatever. And it's kind of like, wow, like that would have been me when I was younger. Like, you know, when I used to think that every time I went to a rap show it was like a reason to celebrate.
Right. Nah, not me, bro. I never fucked with it.
No.
Yeah.
Never got messed up.
Nah, not like that.
Not
you
like
know,
that.
I mean, I was a pretty heavy. I mean, I still drink a lot when I'm in that mood. You know what I'm saying? I was never really a pop shit, drop shit type dude, though.
You missed out on that? How old are you?
I am upward. I'm like mid 30s.
Okay.
No, I'm 33.
Well, you're still younger than me. But you didn't, I mean, that's kind of the crazy thing now is that I feel like for young kids now, it's like they know so much about drugs at such a young age.
Yeah.
And that's terrifying.
Well, you know, here's what messed me up is like when I was really even starting to go out, and that's when like everybody was just like on ecstasy. Ecstasy was really popping. And then I saw a dude at a club all of a sudden just start like seizuring in the middle of the club, and he was foaming at the mouth and shit. I was like, I'm good. I'm good. I'm gonna stick to this drink.
Yeah.
That's enough for me, you know?
Ecstasy is a weird drink because it basically turns you into the biggest weirdo, pervert, just strange, creepy person.
Yeah, and like the lip biting and the sweating
Yes.
and shit. I was like, I'm cool.
And let's be real, it feels great. But if you're around people that are going to be even slightly judgmental about how you're acting, like myself, I can never imagine doing a drug like that in public.
Right.
Because I just don't want to be judged the way that I'm going to be judged by all these people.
Yeah. And I just, you know, in my head, I felt like, you know, I feel like a lot of people, you know, when they are at the club and they feel like they need to like pop some shit or whatever, they feel like they need to let loose, or they need something to get them there. Like, I'm cool. Like, I don't really need something to get me to like dance mode. You feel me? Like, I'm already kind of having a good time. Like, I'm good.
That is a lot of people's problem, though. Do you have memories of going to the club when you were young, or the bar or whatever, and just feeling so anxious and so just uncomfortable in your own skin being in this sort of social environment? Because I got a lot of memories like that.
Word? I mean, not really, bro. I mean, for me, maybe uncomfortable back in the you know, like when you first start going to the club and you're kind of like, and the goal is like, man, I just really want to like grind on a female tonight. You know
Even
what I'm saying?
that, not fucking, just to grind.
Just
on
to
them a little
grind.
bit.
Like early days, it's like, oh man, the struggle of like looking around and trying to find somebody who possibly might be down to grind. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I remember just being in the club and feeling like mad uncomfortable when you're just in the mix of everything. Like, it's fun, but at the same time, you know, everything is like, am I about to possibly embarrass myself and try and grind on this girl right now? And then if you're not there, you gotta like look all stupid, pretend to text and shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
But I assume at your point at this point in your life, you've been through there's two very different experiences going to the club. There's going to a club where
Right.
you have a table
Yeah.
and everything is set aside and everything, and that can be kind of fun, but you know, it's also kind of isolated. Like, you know, the more famous people that you're with or whatever, the more that it's like impossible for normal people to get in.
Right.
And that's kind of a different vibe. But then if you go to the club as just a normal patron, you're just out there on the dance floor. You got nowhere to sit down. It's kind of just
Right.
all out warfare down there.
Back in the day, right, I used to look at the tables and be like, you never see me spending no $500,000 to sit at a table by myself.
Right.
But now, bro, especially after like doing all the after parties and like, you know, where you're at the club and you're not paying for tables, and you're kind of in that area enjoying your time with the homies drinking, and you can select who gets to come up here and drink with me, then it's kind of like, now I'm at the club, I'm like, you're never gonna see me down there with the commoners. You feel me?
But I also feel like I'm in a weird position because I don't fucking fly. I will kill you. I shall seize you today. I feel like because have I paid for a table? Yeah, I think one year on my girl's birthday, I paid a couple G's for a table.
Yeah.
Didn't really feel like it was something I ever wanted to do again after that.
Well, you know what, Doc? You know what I started doing is you can write it off as a tax write-off. If your tax dude wants to do that, you know what I'm saying? Because you can technically be like, I'm treating my employees or my peoples to like a little celebration. So this is all tax purposes. And me kind of like technically, since I vlog a lot of shit, I can write off a lot of like, hey, this is an outing. I'm documenting it. Technically, it's for work.
Yeah.
I can kind of help this, this can kind of help my taxes.
I mean, as a YouTuber in general, I mean, everything you do is technically a tax write-off, which is nice.
Yeah, I mean,
damn near.
Yeah, as long as you got somebody doing your numbers right, because it walks a fine line.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you had tax issues in the past?
I never had tax issues in the past, but when I really first started making money, I wasn't incorporated yet, and I was just kind of doing it as a, hey, this is just me, Tim, this is my money, and I didn't realize how important it was as like someone making money, working up, like, self-employed, to be incorporated, because it makes so much of a difference. So that first year where like the money was nice, taxes were like horrible.
What did you first start making money doing?
The YouTube stuff.
Yeah. Okay, that was the first decent check you ever got from entertainment.
Yeah. Initially, when I was on, I got on YouTube before there was any money, before anything.
13 years, right?
Yeah, back
That's
in like
crazy. 2006. Which is super early. I remember first going on YouTube in maybe 2004.
Right. Maybe when it was just like, you could still find porn and shit on YouTube, you know what I'm saying? It was kind of random. You could upload whatever.
New episode of South Park, the entire thing's on YouTube 5 minutes later.
Yeah,
that
seriously.
was great.
Everything was on there, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't regulated. You could literally put any type of shit on there, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then I think like 05, 06, I randomly stumbled across it because I was on MySpace and someone posted a bulletin that said, look at these white girls dancing to Laffy Taffy, ha ha ha. And I was like, okay, let me click this bulletin, see what this is about. And then I was like, oh, okay, that's funny or whatever, but I had never seen a website where you can upload any random ass video and they would give you a link to embed onto your MySpace or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, oh, this is
the new thing about it.
Yeah, so I was like, this is dope. So
the other big thing about it too was that it autoplayed.
Did it?
You went to YouTube and it was playing automatically, and at the time, all of the sites that would usually have video would be like QuickTime players and shit like that.
Oh, that's right.
They wouldn't autoplay, and that I think was a huge difference, because it's sort of like anytime you click that link, it's like you're already in that YouTube experience.
Yeah, people are so lazy to just go click another or wait for some other shit to load up, you know? So I was like, this is cool, this is new, let me try and use it to possibly get my face out there. So I just started making little stupid videos.
That was really what went through your head, is you're like, this is a good opportunity for me to start building my career off this, because that did not occur to me for many years.
Oh, word?
I think 2012 was when I really started to realize, like, oh, social media is what it is to be famous now, and if you want to be a bigger name, then you have to be big on social media now.
Well, that's the thing about it. That wasn't my mindset. Is it wasn't trying to be big on social media. It was just to hopefully maybe I would use this to get my face out there, and that would lead to something else in traditional media. You know, because I was still like, I had an agent. I was doing extra work, that bullshit, and I was like just trying to get my foot in there. Because me and the homies were doing little short films, but we were just submitting them to random contests and stuff like that.
Right.
And YouTube was the first website that I was like, oh, okay, we can use this to share our shit, you know?
Yeah.
And then it just kind of became a thing. But I wasn't making money for the first few years because there really wasn't a way to make money.
They didn't have any money going on at the beginning, right?
Yeah, so I was just, Foot Locker employee, California Pizza Kitchen server.
Yeah.
Until they started monetizing, and then eventually I got to a point where it was like, oh, like this is kind of sustainable.
But what was your content at first, and were people just drawn to it right away?
In the beginning, it was me freestyling, and it was me doing silly, just like lip sync videos, just dumb shit, And then I used my little parents' camcorder, started making little really cheap skits, with the homies. I think I started tagging all my freestyle videos as like JIN 106 in Park Freestyle Friday. So any little kid searching that up looking for an Asian rapper would come across my face.
Was JIN hot at this time? I'm trying to think of when JIN was hot exactly.
He wasn't necessarily popping, but this was also the first, YouTube was really the first one where you could look up anything online on the video search engine and a video would pop up.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? So I figured, let's hope people are searching for old JIN freestyles. They come across my shit and potentially become fans. fans, you know?
Yeah, I feel like I didn't really realize how important JIN was to Asian people in general. But then I was in Shanghai in maybe 2011, and I just like casually, like jokingly mentioned JIN, and the fucking Chinese dudes that we were with were like, JIN is very good, man.
Bro, JIN is like Will Smith in China, bro.
He is, huh?
Yeah, he's like Jay Leno out there. It's crazy.
Yeah, they had so much respect to him, and it seemed so foreign to them that I had just mentioned his name in like a joking context, and they were like genuinely like kind of concerned, like, "Oh no, you're not trying to clown JIN, are you?" I'm like, no, not like that, not like that.
Well, when JIN first dropped, I was kind of mad because I was in junior high, like freshman in high school, probably just trying to like beginning to write raps and be a rapper and stuff, and then my boy hit me up and he was like, yo, 106 in Park, there's an Asian dude rapping. He looks just like you. And I was like, man, shut the fuck. He's probably just, they say we look alike because we're Asian or whatever, right? So I turn on BET, I turn to 106 Park, and I'm like, mother, this dude really looks like me. You know what I'm saying? Because like back then we used to dress the same with the fitted caps and the like the oversized hoodies and stuff. And we genuinely kind of looked similar. And I remember walking around Not Scary Farm when JIN was popping, and these like flock of girls were following me because they thought I was JIN.
Whoa.
And they were like, ain't you that boy from 106 in Park? And I was like, yeah, Rough Rider, Holla Front, blah, blah, blah. And just trying.
That's the ultimate dream, is to get some pussy from being someone you're not.
Bro, you know how many...
Just keep it going all night.
So mad Asian dudes have me as their like Tinder like picture and shit. And if it's not my face, it's pictures with me that they've taken.
Wow.
Like literally a girl like that I know 2 days ago or like last week was like, yo, why is everybody in my area, their Tinder profile is a picture with you?
Wow, I've had that happen a couple times, but I don't feel like it's like a real epidemic. Like a few people hit me up, it's like, look at this guy. Why is his Tinder photo with you? And I'm like, I don't know.
Well, it's not a lot of Asian dudes doing it for Asian people. You know what I'm saying?
But is that a feeling you've had for a long time, or is that a newish feeling that Asian representation is important and lacking?
That is pretty much the reason why I've started doing entertainment stuff. I mean,
really?
not the only reason. I liked being on stage. I like performing. I was always
can't you
doing
just be a selfish bastard who wants to make some money?
I mean, it's definitely a lot of that too, you know,
right.
and definitely for my ego as well, and just because I want to be popping, right?
Right. Who wouldn't?
Yeah, of course. But
Everybody wants
also,
a nice house.
Yeah, it has its perks, right?
Yeah.
But like
Perks.
for sure,
Perks being one of the perks. Yeah.
Perks.
Just go crazy and buy a lot of perks. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, are you talking about Perks and Recreation?
Perks and Recreation. That's my new show. That's my mixtape, actually.
Perks. Hey, that's kind of lit, dude.
That's actually like a really, like if Lil Pump was coming out right now and I was his manager, I would tell him that that's the best mixtape idea I heard in a while.
Damn, that's kind of popping. Perks and Rec.
Okay.
Oh.
Somebody used that.
What are we talking about?
We're talking about Asian representation.
Oh, yeah. Specifically, because my stage name DeLaGhetto comes from an episode of The Fresh Prince, like an old episode of The Fresh Prince.
I did not know
and
that.
She knows what's up. And because I felt like, The Fresh Prince was just a big influence on me growing up. Like I feel like he like kind of raised me. You feel me? So there was an episode specifically where Carlton, like his tuxedo shrunk, so he needed like a last minute tux to go to prom. So he had to get like this really tacky baby blue, like with the lapel shit. You know what I'm saying? And he ran into a group of nerds, and the nerds were like, "Hey, Carlton, nice tux, right?" But one of them specifically that said that line was this nerdy Asian dude, and I remember thinking, "Oh shit, I've never seen an Asian dude on Fresh Prince, my favorite show up until this point." And I remember thinking, even as like a youngin', like, wow, this is how America kind of sees Asian dudes. Like that's how they see my people, right? And I was like, I'm not like this. My friends aren't like this. And I was like, let me get out there, show my face, show people that, there's different types of Asian guys. We're not all these nerdy, orange tuxedo wearing kung fu dudes. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, let me represent a little bit.
Yeah, it's kind of tricky in that regard because, okay, let me ask you how you feel about the taking it outside of your situation a little bit. But like, think about Apu on The Simpsons. Like,
Right.
They removed that motherfucker from The Simpsons because he was, an Indian stereotype. The truth is, though, look, there's a lot of Indian dudes you met in your life that kind of remind you of Apu a little bit. And so it feels kind of weird that just because that is a stereotype, it's like we have to remove this beloved character from this beloved TV show after 30 years. Now, granted, I haven't watched The Simpsons in about 2 decades.
Right, same.
So I'm not really too invested in this. But, I mean, I just, say there was a Chinese shop owner on The Simpsons. Would you feel a similar way?
I think I don't mind the accent as long as I feel like the accent is not like a super stereotype. You feel me? Like, yeah, some people have stereotypes, like dude from King of the Hill. You know what I'm saying? I think that family is
the Laotians.
Yeah, the Laotians. There's a family, and they have an accent, and it's like a legitimate accent. You know what I'm saying? It's not like a stereotypical like oh hello fucking like that shit. You know?
I think like the biggest thing might be just is the entirety of the character just mocking the cultural traditions of the people that this character is supposed to represent. That's the main thing. Because if there's a human aspect to it,
right,
then okay, cool. Like you're sort of using the stereotype just to get this character off the ground to make them relatable to people or something like that. But if all you ever see is Asian people represented as whatever, kung fu shit, nerds, whatever, I mean, it's that I could definitely see how it's problematic.
Yeah, you know, and I mean, look, I understand the frustrations with Apu too. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, you know, I feel like there's Indian dudes for their whole lives they've been hearing "Thank you, come again," you know, and that's because of that character. And it doesn't help that he's probably like the only really recognizable Indian character on TV aside from Big Bang Theory dude now. So you know,
that's interesting. Okay, so you start getting paid from YouTube around what point? And what do you remember your first check?
Well, the first check, you know, YouTube, they'll send you your first check as soon as you make more than like $100. You know what I'm saying? And then, but I remember the first check that made me realize I could live off of this. It was the same week I got fired from California Pizza Kitchen
for tweeting about the uniforms being ugly.
Oh, how you know about that?
Wikipedia.
Oh, word.
Yeah. Which I hate. I hate getting questions from Wikipedia because it's like the most basic ass place to find that. But I did notice that on there.
Yeah. Oh, well, what happened was I was just young, being dumb, and Twitter wasn't as popping back then. So
you thought you could get away with some
yeah,
shit,
I was being stupid. I was literally bored at work, and someone was like, "Yo, they're switching the uniforms to black button-ups," and I liked the white button-up with the red tie. I thought it was a good look, and so I tweeted their Twitter, and I was like, "Yo." At California Pizza Kitchen, black button-ups are the lamest shit ever. You know what I'm saying? Thinking just being stupid.
Yeah.
And then someone DM'd me, and they were like, "Thank you for your opinion on our new uniforms. What store do you work at?" And I was like, "Oh shit!" Deleted my I was like, "Never mind." You
deleted your whole Twitter?
No, I deleted my tweet. All right, and I was off it. And the thing about it was, my Twitter didn't have any information about me except for it had a link to my YouTube, and my YouTube said I was from Long Beach. So someone from CPK called the GM of all the Long Beach, California Pizza Kitchens, and they were like, "Do you know this kid?" And she was like, "Yeah, that's Tim." And they were like, "You gotta fire him." Because of that tweet. And they found another tweet where I said, "Time to go to work at California Skeetsa Kitchen." that was on the paper for "This is why Tim is getting fired," bro.
Wow. That honestly sounds a lot more valid than the uniform part.
I'm glad they didn't find the tweets where I'm like, "Yo, I love being in the freezer stealing pepperonis and shit," you know?
I love jerking off in the bathroom. God, this is a great job. Dude, that sounds crazy. How many did you have? Like a lot of followers at that point? Was there any reason for them to really be paying attention?
It wasn't crazy. Now, I'm starting to get a little hot now.
Yeah.
It was
talking will do that.
It was it wasn't crazy, but it was a decent following.
Enough that it was like, this isn't just some random guy. Because it's like, if you got 13 followers and you're talking shit about your job, I guess,
right,
who cares, right?
Well, that was the thing too. This what they listed was the reason I got fired because I guess in the handbook that you sign, you're not allowed to publicly talk shit about the company. You know, and but then people had been tagging me in articles for years after that because my specific story was listed in some different article that said, had this happened today, it would have fallen under free speech and they wouldn't have been able to fire me.
See, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, is there some legal defense that you'd be able to have in this day and age?
Yeah, so apparently there is now, but back when they fired me, it was okay.
Do you hold any sort of animosity towards CBK? Would you refuse a brand deal right now from CBK?
Oh no, bro, I eat there all the time. I love CBK.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
dog.
dope.
Yeah. They got this new ribeye fire.
Really?
Anyways, yeah, you know, you'd be surprised at how good that steak is at CBK.
Right.
But
I'm
anyway.
kind of new to California, so for me, it's still sort of a new thrill.
Oh,
I've
well,
only been there a few times.
Oh, word. They got good food, dog. It's a good menu.
I mean, I have been here like 10 years, so I guess I can't say I'm that new.
Yeah, I was like, wait, no. You've been here.
Not that new. But I've only had it a few times over the years. I think it's good, though.
It's quality. They got this cauliflower crust that's popping, too. I like it better than the regular crust.
Really?
Yeah.
You big on diet and exercise?
Kind of now. Just because, like, my main shit I do now is, like, I have this food show that I do.
Right.
So when I'm not shooting the food show, I'm trying to eat clean and...
To prepare for the food show because you're going to be stuffing so many calories in
Yeah.
Really?
Because we're shooting it like it was every other week, and now we're knocking them out like every week. So and it's just us going to, me and my boy David. So we going to food festivals and just literally just like getting drunk and eating all the food and just talking shit. So it's like it's a lot, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? And I found that like cheese kind of breaks me out, so I'm trying to lay off the cheese.
Really?
And, yeah.
Interesting.
And I'm getting older, you know, metabolism slowing down, all
Totally.
that.
Yeah, I've been on the most restrictive diet for the past couple of weeks because I'm trying to get ready for this photo shoot, and it is just. I've been eating meal prep every day and exercising every day, and holy shit, it's crazy to actually be like 100% in.
It's the worst.
I love it. Honestly, I'm having a great time, but it's like I'm also a person that is kind of like neurotic. Like I like to do things to the extreme. Like I'm more comfortable being on an extreme diet than I would be on being like a halfway decent
I feel
diet.
you.
I feel like
so you're one of those like once you're in, you're 100% in it.
It's easier for me to be 100% doing something than to be like halfway doing it. And based on the last week of my life, I feel like every time I've ever been dieting previously, I was basically not 100%.
Yeah, that's probably my issue too. I just need to commit to it, bro. It's a struggle, man.
But you don't have a real reason to because you're like what? Like you could lose like 5 pounds, right? You're like not really.
Yeah, no, I'm you know, I could drop like another 7. And what happens because I got yes, exactly
I'm over here. I
7.
got a solid 40 on me, homie.
I'm just trying to because I'm okay right now. You know what I'm
great.
saying?
Yeah, you're
I
like skinny.
But I got a big ass head. You feel me? So as soon as I gain a little bit of weight, it all goes to my my jaw, face
Really?
region. Yeah,
Well, that's a
yeah.
great reason to have a beard right there, is because it kind of obscures all that.
I wish, dog.
it's not happening?
This is it.
Right.
I've been growing this shit for 3 months.
That's some evolution right there. I've hung out with Asian girls in my life who you go to rub their leg and they got no hair on their leg, and then they say that they never shave. And I'm like, holy shit, that's incredible.
Dog, I barely grow armpit hair. Look, this is unshaved right here. This is unshaved, untweezed.
You got about 4 hairs hanging there.
Yeah, those just popped up.
What? That's amazing. Honestly, you're lucky as hell.
Yeah, I know. I know that. Yeah, especially because girls are like, "Oh God, you're so smooth." Or
Right.
something like, yeah.
But
Or they were saying that.
Right. Every girl I've ever hung out with in my entire life, though, is like, no, don't shave your chest. Or like, no, I love your hairy legs. I'm like, you realize if I don't shave my chest hair that it's going to be like a 4-inch poof sticking out of my shirt. My shirt is going to be floating out here.
Hey, people like different shit, man.
Yeah, but they're lying. The girls are always saying they're like dad bods. I don't buy that shit either.
No, there's actually girls out there that are turned off by buff dudes. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe like 4 or 5 girls, yeah. But I think that on average, if you've got a 6-pack, life is going to be a lot easier.
That's the thing about it is girls will say like, oh, they like the dad bods until their dude starts getting the 6-pack. Then it's like, oh, okay.
And it shows how fucked up we are because guys are never like, oh, I like a girl with a little gut. That sounds so foreign.
Well, I've always told. Well, I don't necessarily like a 6-pack on a girl.
No, that yeah. But that's
like,
also like, have you ever? I don't know if I've ever been with a girl who had a 6-pack. That's
Me
so
neither.
rare.
I always I let them know, anybody that I've dealt with in the past, I'm like, I like you I like you soft.
Yeah,
you feel
yeah,
me?
yeah.
Like do your thing. Like you don't feel the need to get a 6-pack with me because
Yeah.
I first of all, I'm not gonna have one.
When I'm looking at the hot chicks in the gym and they're like, like the workout girls, like you ever looking at Instagram and some girls, they're not Instagram models, but they're like workout chicks.
Yeah,
like that's
yeah.
all they talk about is like working out, and they're all in the gym and everything. I just always have assumed that those girls would want nothing to do with me because I'm just too soft, not chiseled enough.
Yeah, I feel like it would just all be arguments all the time. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like I don't care about what you're talking about. You're not gonna like me and what I want to do right now, and you're just gonna be frustrated with me. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I tell my chick all the time, because she got really heavy into the workout for a while, and I was like, please, just don't let your booty get hard, man. Like, don't let your booty get hard. I like how it is right now. I like the way it moves.
Yeah.
And I've canoodled with asses in the past that don't move, and like I would prefer them to move.
Yeah, in the year 2019, I don't know. Like, and it's actually weird because like my girl's got a big ass,
Right.
fake tits, whatever. But previously in my life, I mostly dated girls who were like pretty fucking skinny, little A cup, B cup, whatever. I don't know if I could go back because once you get something to hold on to,
It's a good time.
you're gonna go back to the rib cage sticking out. I don't know.
But hey, if that makes you happy, do your thing. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, by all means. It just seems a little. I don't know. It's like I upgraded a little bit. I'm sure some people would consider it not an upgrade, but
Hey man, as long as they're happy.
You know what's so funny?
What's up?
I went to listen to your most recent episode of your podcast where you were interviewing the plus size model girl or whatever. And you know, it's like this is how I get ready for interviews. I'll like sit around, listen to somebody else's podcast, play Tetris on my fucking Switch as you saw when you walked in here.
Yeah.
And just sort of like, you know, just think about them and just sort of try to conjure up some questions or whatever. And the one thing I wrote down, and then I realized what you were doing as time went by a little bit, but the thing that I wrote down was that the first thing you started talking about was just like, man, my balls been itching and sticking and just my balls, like you just started going in about this. And I actually wrote down, I'm like, so do you on average like begin a podcast by just ranting about how sticky your balls are? But then I realized, I'm like, oh, I've actually been inside of an advertisement for the past few minutes because it was like, you had some deodorant or something.
That was a complete coincidence.
Really?
Yeah, no, I just felt like talking about balls.
Wow, I thought for sure that you had to have been thinking like, I'm going to sort of do this ball sack joke and then tie it in.
Nah, what's funny is, so, you know, because as I began talking about the balls because it was hot in the room, you feel me? And I was just gonna ask like, yo, do you ever put deodorant on your balls? Just because I never have, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, I don't grow a lot of hair. I really don't get too musty. It takes a lot for me to get musty, but I was just kind of asking the question just because we were on the
couple weeks you start smelling a little rough.
2 weeks no shower, and then my boy just coincidentally brought up the manscaping shit, which also was just happened to be one of our podcast sponsors, but that was all on accident.
That's incredible.
Yeah, worked out.
You know, it's always funny to me seeing people who are really good at integrating their sponsors into their podcast in like really weird, natural ways. Like they sort of just take you by surprise. And because everybody as YouTubers and podcasters now are so like, you know, the YouTube money is just not that consistent anymore. I don't know if you have to deal with that. It's not great.
I do. Yeah, no, it's not.
It's a little rough. But now everybody needs sponsors on their videos, which is kind of a weird thing. It didn't used to be like that. It used to be that you were kind of like a thirsty ass YouTuber if you felt the need to go out and get all these brand deals and stuff.
I mean, kids are just silly, bro. Like they don't understand how shit works. You feel me? Like when I remember back in the day when ads first started popping up on my videos, kids were like, "Yo, Tim, you sold out. Can't believe you would do this, man." I was like, "Are you guys serious, bro? Like, do you not understand how this shit works?"
Right.
And I think now more so than ever, they do understand how it works. So it's like. People aren't so afraid of embracing the sponsor life. You know what I'm saying? Because like so many people have said like, "Hey guys, I need this shit to survive."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So kids are understanding of that. Like I remember compared to back in the day when they'd be like, "Oh, you're a sellout for whatever reason." Now it's like they see me pushing out obvious brand deal, which I don't try to hide at all, and they'll be like, "Yo, get that money." That's the comments. Even if they don't fuck with the product at all, they'll be like, "Yo, get that money."
Yeah, respect what I'm doing here.
Yeah,
leave me alone. Just let me rock.
Come on.
Do you want to tap? You want to fast forward a little bit? Okay, fine. Let's not talk about it. Don't tell me.
Yeah. Speaking of which, today's podcast is brought to you by
absolutely nobody. NoJumper.com. Yeah.
But sometimes the shit isn't as my ads aren't as the transitions aren't very good because they have me reading the ads after the fact, so they can plug them in whenever. So now I start the ads with. All right, speaking of coffee, even though we weren't talking about coffee, this is because they just be in there, you know what I'm saying? And I think one episode specifically, the conversation was real serious, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was getting deep. Like, it was a nice, like, deep conversation. And all of a sudden, it was like, hey, do you need to freshen your balls up? Make sure you something manscape, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, bro, I wrote the editor like, come on, dog, can you at least, you know, pick the moments a little better, bro?
I actually didn't even tell my editor, who's in the room right now, shout out to Lou, I didn't even tell him that he did this, but basically, like, on a recent podcast I did, I made a joke where I said that porn stars all have no souls. And then I immediately dial it back and I'm like, listen, okay, I'm just kidding. It's not that I don't think they have souls. And I explained, I was kind of making like a weird point. I was like, it's not that I think they have no souls. It's that a lot of the porn star girls that we know basically treat themselves like they have no souls. And they like act like they can't have a boyfriend or have kids or whatever. That was what I said. But fucking Lou sticks the ad right in the middle of it so that there's like, you have to watch the whole ad before you then realize like, oh, he didn't actually mean that. And I told him, I'm like, yo, find like a nice natural spot to put the ad.
It helps.
Maybe he hates me. I don't know.
Maybe. Hey, dog, they got to edit so many of these. They don't be listening to you, dog. They
Exactly,
just pick a time where it gets a little quiet and plug them in there, dog.
Yeah. That is weird to think about your employees having to watch your podcast. Like, sometimes you just think about that. I'm like, you're getting paid to be like a fake fan of mine. Not a fake fan. I'm sure you think my podcast is fine, but realistically, like, we might do 10 episodes in a week. So it's kind of like, super all over the place.
That's 10 hours they gotta listen to, bro. If
Yeah.
you talk about some bullshit.
How clued in do you really expect them to be?
Yeah, exactly. Even when I listen to the episodes before they drop, even like just an hour of myself, I'd be like, oh god, I gotta listen to this shit.
You still do that? You listen to every podcast you do?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Well, because I don't. We just kind of like when they go up, I listen to them like the day right before. You know what I'm saying? So I just kind of sit down and just kind of have it in the background, see if there's just anything too reckless. You feel me? Like, is this gonna get anybody in trouble? Let me take that out. You know?
I realized that from listening to the Joe Budden podcast. I'm like, at one point I realized, holy shit, these dudes are editing shit out. There's moments in here that they're editing out, and it made me feel kind of like, I thought I was in the room with you guys. Like, you're really gonna do that to me? Like, the stuff you're editing out is without question the most interesting shit.
Well, yeah, but you know,
That's a shame.
when the conversation gets a little too comfortable, you kind of gotta just pay attention a little bit.
Give me an example of something you had to cut out because it got too real. It doesn't have, you don't have to include all the details. But
I made a joke with the homies that were in the room that if it was all homies, then you understand the context of it. But my boy, he was like afterwards, he was like, you should probably take that out. I was like, all right, fine.
right.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I remember one time I was just straight up about a friend of mine. I was just like, yeah, remember when we fucking tag teamed that girl together, blah, 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 and his girlfriend heard it, and holy shit, I felt so guilty just knowing that I did that to him.
You definitely caused a fight.
Yeah, definitely. Huge. And
Yeah.
it doesn't even make sense. She didn't even know him when this happened. But I mean, I get it. Like, you don't want to think about that.
She wasn't even mad about him tag teaming a girl. She was just mad that it was with you. She's like, with fucking Adam?
Yeah,
Really?
You're gay with him?
That's not gay.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. That's not gay. That's just homie shit.
Yeah, dog.
No, those are the homies. Yeah, let me ask you this. Do you remember, because I was deep on an internet wormhole last night watching stuff about, you remember when there was like gross out links online and that was the kind of the thing, was to send somebody a link to like Meat Spin.
Oh, God,
or
Meat Spin, yeah.
Goatsy. Goatsy was a big one. Do you remember Goatsy?
I don't think I was familiar with Goatsy.
Goatsy is the man bent over with his asshole spread like this. It's like this looks like a coffee can was just in there. He's holding it so wide open.
I was never on Goatsy. Meat Spin, I got sent a couple times. Cake Farts, you familiar with Cake Farts?
Lemon Party was the three old guys fucking each other.
Lemon Party, yes, I'm familiar with Lemon Party. They were in the shower or some shit, right?
I think there was like Blink182.com was some kind of disgusting porn as well for a period of time. Although I would kind of be willing to guess that they got that URL at some point.
I remember as a little ass kid, if you went to whitehouse.com, it was porn.
Really?
Yeah, and remember the homies would be like, yo, you ever go to whitehouse.com? And you're like, why? And you go to White House, and it's literally like just naked women would pop up.
That's so fucking funny to think that the internet, there was a time when the internet was so untamed that the White House didn't really fully have their shit together.
Isn't that crazy? The internet was so new. No one knew
Yeah.
what the fight was. Probably just something like, whatever, who cares?
You think about all the shit that you've seen online during your life. Like I still have this image burned into my fucking mind of this guy just getting head from a cat because I was just I'm scrolling down this message board and they had like swarmed this message board and just sort of posted as much bad shit as they could.
Yeah.
And I just like saw this cat.
Ugh.
Oh, and I'm a huge cat guy. Huge. Like I worship my cat. My cat is so important to me.
Yeah, so then you tried it out.
No, yeah. But I mean, it just didn't feel like it was gonna fit.
Wait, like he was full out. Wait, how? Or it was just licking his dick.
I don't know. I
He
mean,
put like some catnip on his dick and it was just getting it licked. It wasn't full on.
No. This cat looked like it probably wasn't gonna be the same after this. We're talking about like fully in there. Like, and I only saw it for a second, and chances are that it might be worse in my mind right now than it actually was because your brain kind of like
Does that? Yeah.
develops it, and But I mean, that was a horrible experience.
What was the website?
It was just they just raided some forum I was on, and this is like 15 years ago. It's still kind of just floating around my brain.
4chan shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now that's
Yeah.
Because I was reading about that too, how trolling and hacking and just sort of like raising hell online. It used to just really be done to fuck with people, but now it's almost always political.
Is that what it is?
There's always like if they're gonna raid some website, or if they're gonna fuck up some community online, it's gonna be a community that they sort of oppose ideologically.
Right. Oh, like the anonymous shit. Yeah.
Stuff like that. But that's actually the thing. That's what changed Anonymous. Anonymous used to just be all about trolling and hacking and stuff, and then the Church of Scientology, they did their whole thing against them. And then all of a sudden shit changed where it's like, oh, we should use our powers to actually like change society. And if you look at the Church of Scientology, they were hugely wounded
Wow.
by the basically the protests and all the commotion that that Anonymous caused, as well as South Park. That was the other big thing.
Oh yeah, South Park. That's
They
right.
did that episode, and that actually really helped, because now Scientology's like all time low.
Are they?
Yeah.
Damn. Have you been?
I have not been, but I read enough about it that I know that it's not too cool to be into.
That's crazy. Let's not even talk about them, bro. I don't want that. I don't
You
want
them
no
coming for
trouble,
you?
dog.
I mean, you've been in Hollywood for a long time. Chances are they probably have come to your house and tried to convince you to join, right?
Yeah, maybe. As soon as anyone rings the door, they could have been Church of Scientology, could have been Mormons. I don't know. As soon as the doorbell rings, I'm turning the lights off. I'm hiding, turning the TV off. I'm behind the couch.
Yeah, leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah.
Any religious person, if they come to my house, I will shoot them.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me ask you this: being on Wild 'N Out is kind of like, you haven't been on SNL, but is it kind of like the hip hop SNL for this generation?
I describe it to older people that don't know about it, like people that haven't heard of it, as an hip hop. Whose line is it anyway? You feel me?
Interesting.
Because SNL's more sketchy.
Yeah.
And Wild 'N Out is more improv.
But you're telling me that in those freestyles that you don't have like a writing room that's coming up with all these punchlines in the back beforehand?
There's no writing rooms. I'll tell people like this, all right? There's no scripts or anything like that, but the day before, they'll tell you this person's on your team, this person's on the opposite team. These are the games we're playing, and we only play maybe like every episode we play 3 games, right? And it's really just a circle of like 5 to 7 different games. So of course, after doing the shit so many times, you have stuff that's in your head.
Right.
Or like when someone else is going to be on the opposite team, you might be like let's say you were going to be on the opposite team tomorrow. I'd be like, okay, cool, he's tatted up. I can say something about his tats. I can say something about his beard, blah, blah, blah. And some people come with written, some people don't. I've definitely had people like right before we shoot that last little segment where we battle each other, someone will come up to me like, hey, yo, Tim, just, I got bars for you. Or, yo, I'm coming after you. So then immediately I'm like, okay, let me look them up and down. What are they wearing?
You ever get offended?
Never
went that far.
Never. That's the show.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like we make jokes. Of course, I'm gonna get some Asian jokes. The fat dude's gonna get fat jokes. It's like this kind of you kind of do. That's the show.
Were you still around when Azalea Banks came on?
I was on that episode.
Was that insanely weird?
It
that
was
was a ridiculous thing to watch.
That might be the most awkward thing I've ever been a part of my entire life, bro. Like, as soon as it started happening, when she started tripping about whatever she was tripping about, which she was completely tripping about.
Right.
I remember I was on stage and everyone was like, what is she talking about? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then they ended up having to, what you didn't see is like they stopped production for like a whole hour to calm her down.
Whoa.
And so we, so it's like they took her in the back to just kind of make sure she was okay, like to convince her to keep on playing the games. And I just remember standing around and like I sat with some audience members like yo, this is awkward. Everyone's like, yeah, because it was so uncomfortable. Like it would kind of just suck the whole energy out of the room.
Yeah, because it's like if you're gonna go in and do that kind of thing, you have to go in there with some thick skin. Otherwise, what the fuck are you even doing there, right?
Yeah, and I mean, she says she didn't know what the show was about before she went on, and she says I read that she thought it was a Nickelodeon show she was about to come on. I don't know, bro.
Was there any like jokes about her skin color? Was that what you got offended by?
Okay, now specifically, I remember DC Young Fly made a joke, and you'll see a bunch of stuff explaining this online or whatever from his side and whatever side. But we were on stage, and he made a joke saying, calling her ugly, basically, right? But the specific game is you're saying this person is so petty because, right? So it's like, oh, Nick Cannon's so petty. And it goes, how petty is he? And it'll be like, oh, Nick is so petty. He took the kids to blah, blah, blah when Mariah wanted to take them somewhere else. Some shit like that, right? Some bullshit like that. So DC goes, Nick Cannon is so petty, he couldn't get Cardi B on the show, so he got Joe ugly ass. So that was the joke. Called her ugly. That's
a good joke.
So she turns around, and while everyone's laughing, and she's like, wow, that's really colorist, though.
This is like the definition of the kind of person you don't want to have at your party.
And I was just and I remember feeling like, oh no. Immediately I was like, oh.
Like you can't be ugly. You have to be like ugly in a racist way.
I guess the way it was trying to get spun was that since Cardi B is light skinned and she's dark, that was she's ugly because of that. But that wasn't the joke at all. Like no one took it that way. So
I want to say I think she's hot. You ever see her boobs?
Azalea Banks?
Those are some nice boobs.
No, I've seen online, yeah.
Okay, continue.
And I also agree, she's attractive, right?
I don't think she's bad looking at all, but it's like in the context of a hip hop roast comedy show.
Everybody's ugly when you're on stage. Everybody's ugly.
Everybody's fat,
You feel
short,
me?
well, any exaggeration, like you 5'7", you're a midget. Let's talk about it.
Literally, like no one is attractive on that stage.
Yeah.
So as soon as I heard her saying those that she thought it was colors, I was like, oh shit, it's about to be some shit. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And immediately it was kind of like just the whole energy was off. I mean, she came back and she was still down to participate, but you know, at that point it was just kind of like, okay, make sure she feels comfortable.
Right.
You know, it was definitely awkward. If you watch the episode,
I could actually watch that. I don't know why I didn't think of that last night.
I remember the producers specifically being like, they asked, like, because I was cool with them, so the producer was like, yo, it's funny because they were asking for more shots of Tim because my face was like, what's happening, man?
That's probably got to be the best. You could be a meme so easy. Whoa. Was there anything even close to that in terms of awkwardness or just weird situations that would come up in the whole freestyle thing?
Nah, I mean, for the most part, everything was always pretty chill. You know, like we get up there, say our jokes, everybody would laugh, and there was never any hard feelings. I remember specifically there was a new guy, right? One of the newer comedians. And whenever you're a new addition to the cast, they kind of give you a couple episodes to fill you out if they're iffy about you. And he did a couple jokes that weren't popping, right? And I remember he was wearing one of Nick's Incredible chains. And then something happened where Nick said something like, yeah, you better give me that chain back. And he was like, take it, some shit. He was sassy with it, right? The next day he was gone.
Wow, really?
Yeah, he did not have a good episode, said some sassy shit, and then they sent him home.
So Nick Cannon is an angry god.
I think Nick knows if he's fucking with you or not. You feel
Right,
me?
yeah.
And it's like, and you have your chance to either prove yourself or get sent home.
Right.
You know?
Last one out question. How the fuck is that show still in the air? It's like the longest running TV show, right?
Bruh.
On MTV for sure, or something like
It's
that.
well, I don't know about the longest one. Well, you know, because it was on back in the day, and then it had a little
it went away
hiatus.
for a little while? Okay.
Yeah, so it was on way back, and then it was on hiatus, and then when I came on, it was with the reboot, and I did my last season last year, but I was on for like a good 6 years, 8 seasons.
Yeah.
And they just got renewed for like 300 more episodes or some shit like that.
300?
Yeah,
How many do
bro.
they do a year?
Shit. I mean, every time we go to shoot a new season, we knock out a good between 20 and 30 episodes.
Okay.
So that's like another 10 seasons.
That's kind of incredible.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Why'd you have to leave? Do you just feel like you'd done all that you could possibly do there?
It was a little of that and a little of just them feeling the same way, you know, because I had been telling the Wildin' Out group chat with the homies, I was like, yo, I think this is my last season, guys, for like a few seasons. I was like, you know what, I think I'm good. I think I'm gonna retire, blah, blah, blah. And they were always like, man, shut up. You know, you coming back, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, all right, fine, I'll do one more. But then I think after we did a season in Atlanta and I was kind of feeling like, okay, maybe I'll do one more, then I'm good. The producer was like, hey, you know what, maybe we go in a different direction this time. And I was like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
You know, I was already kind of, I felt like I had already done what I could do on the
Right.
show because you know, like, you can only make so many Asian jokes at me, and you know, I had like rebuttals on rebuttals for those, but I feel like because of that, they weren't coming after me anymore.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It was way easier to wait for the basic Asian joke and then hit them back with the fire rebuttal, and that would be easy. When I would have to start calling people out, and then, you know, it wouldn't hit as hard. You feel me?
Right.
So I felt like I kind of did my thing on the show, and I was comfortable with that being the end for me. You know?
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, that's a weird transition to go from being somebody who's like built up their shit on YouTube so much, and then to go do the TV thing. Was that sort of like a challenge? Because, you know, I've had so many people talk to me about doing TV shows, and I've always been kind of tempted by the idea and everything. The one thing that really keeps me from getting too into it is the fact that, like, me and you are going to probably sit here and talk for an hour and a half, and it's going to take an hour and a half. You know, like, there's no bullshit. No, I could just leave after. There's no crazy production. There's no sitting around on set all day.
Yeah.
Was that weird to get used to?
I mean, definitely. I feel like I understand why it would be weird for other YouTubers, but you know, like, I was always doing more scripted content on YouTube, so
Right.
I would shoot like for a whole ass day for a 5-minute video. You know what I'm saying? I was kind of used to that life, so it was like it wasn't a crazy transition for me, and I had done a lot of stuff like on stage, and I did theater and all that shit, right? So that wasn't weird for me, but I definitely. now that I feel like traditional companies are moving into digital, I've been on shit where it's like, why are we shooting for a whole day with multiple cameras when it's literally just a basic ass video, when they're trying to do what the digital
because
shit looks
that's
like?
what they've always known,
Right,
but then
exactly.
meanwhile it's like, no, you realize that YouTubers make these videos in their room with a fucking camera, and it's like gonna look almost as good as this. It's like, it's cool to like use the high-end equipment and everything, but don't let that be your excuse to make this into an all-day thing when you don't need it to be.
It's just not necessary. Yeah, man.
It's weird.
I remember I was on set with Harley from Epic Mealtime.
Yeah.
And we were shooting something. I forget what it was for, but he was like, bro, this. He was like, and it was his shit too. But he had like a budget behind it. He's working with some company. He was like, yo, guys, we don't need all this. Like it was like there was like 3 different cameras and mad lights, and it was literally just gonna be like just some basic ass shit. You know what I'm saying? And they're, when you're working with big production, like you said, that's just what they're used to, right?
Yeah.
They can't do what we do, dog.
Yeah. Epic Mealtime is such a weird cautionary tale about what it is to run a YouTube channel, because they were like one of the first big independent YouTube channels. I used to, watch it and sort of talk about it, and then it feels like people just kind of got burnt out on the concept, because it's like when you make the channel not about you, but about a concept or an idea, and you kind of can only work within that framework. It's sort of interesting.
Yeah, see, and that's interesting because, like I said, I've been on YouTube for 13 years, right? And like my shit's not bringing in views on YouTube like it used to, which is, it's been 13 years. I wouldn't expect it to, you feel me? But I'm actually surprised by the consistent amount of people that still tune in after 13 years.
Right.
Especially when I've seen channels like Epic Mealtime, or people that have like a niche thing that they do that was super popping because it was so consistent. But then, people only want to watch something like that for so long. You feel me?
The prank stuff. There's so many examples of it.
Yeah, and people would tell me back in the day, like, yo, your channel's too all over the place. Like, if you pick something consistent, people will be more willing to subscribe because they know what they're subscribing to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I was doing like sketches, I was doing talking shit, I was doing like music videos, I was doing all types of stuff. So my shit was all over the place. But at the same time, I feel like, because at the end of the day, it's my personality and like me doing these different things, people are tuned into me, as opposed to like a specific show where it's like, okay, I've seen this already. You feel me?
It's kind of interesting because I feel like the value, like you having all those subscribers, it's kind of like if you were to really hit the nail on the head with like a new type of content, I feel like those subscribers are still there. Like they might have sort of got kind of tired of watching a lot of the stuff like over the years. And same thing with No Jumper. It's like, we got 3 million subscribers. We're not getting 3 million views on a video.
Yeah.
But it kind of feels like you do have that audience. So if things were to sort of like, if you were to like completely, and you always have that in your head, like I could completely sort of reboot my content and go in a different direction, and I feel like people would be 100% into it. But then at the same time, you don't really have the same incentive these days because YouTube money's fucked up.
Oh, see, and that's why my food show popped off, because I do this food show called Send Foodz, right? Where it's me and the homies going to the food festivals and just eating and drinking and talking shit. Originally, I did that because I needed content from my YouTube channel.
Right.
And so I was doing that just out of my own pocket on my channel. I wasn't making money off of it because I had to pay for the crew, had to pay for the food, had to pay for everything.
As soon as you are making YouTube content and you have actual expenses associated with each piece of content, it's just...
It's like you're just breaking even. That's why you need the sponsors, right?
Even if you got to spend like a couple $100, $500, it's all of a sudden most YouTube videos are not profitable.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And luckily for me, people really fucked with it, all right? So I was doing that, and then I was doing it with the goal of selling it to a bigger company. So then after I did it for like maybe like a year, I was able to sell it to Thrillist, and they were looking for content, which is cool because now like people fucked with this new show I did, but I don't have to pay for it anymore. So I was like, oh, thank God. And originally, I was only doing it in LA and San Diego food festivals because that's all I could afford to do. But now we're taking it all over the country and shit. So
that's dope.
Yeah, it's fun.
Is that something that you came up with sort of in the absence of the Wild 'N Out thing? Like, because when you stepped away from that, you must have had a bunch of new time in your life that you got to fill with new creative projects, right?
Kind of, sort of. The thing about it is people don't realize we shoot Wild 'N Out. We'll shoot a season in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like 2 to 3 weeks. We knock out we shoot like 2-3 episodes a day and then knock it out. You know
so
what
it
I'm
is
saying?
pretty efficient, actually.
Yeah. So I would go off maybe to New York or Atlanta for a month and then have the rest of my year to do other things,
Right.
you know. So, but I did start doing the food show in the Wildin' Out off season,
Right.
And it was, you know, what's crazy, bro? It's like, you know, Thrillist is just an online company, but like high key, like they're paying me better than Wildin' Out was paying me.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
interesting.
It's kind of crazy, right? And
Yeah.
like I'm looking like where are they getting their money from? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because like MTV, you know, people think like MTV is like crazy money, but it's not like what people think. You
Right.
know, like I'm not complaining. Like it was a fun job. You know, I'm getting paid.
But they know that this is a fun job, and they know that this is a job that's kind of beneficial to your career.
Yeah.
So they know they ain't got to pay you out the
I mean,
ass.
facts. The thing about it, you know, of course, like, you know, like YouTube you can make a lot of money on YouTube.
If
you
you're
know what I'm
smart,
saying?
yeah.
Yeah. So it was like, it definitely wasn't. I wasn't going to MTV like, oh damn, I can quit YouTube now. It was like more than anything for me, it was a stamp of like validation. You feel me? Because I'd always been telling people like, yo, watch, I'm gonna turn this into some TV shit. Like I'm gonna be on TV, you know. And then like it was like, okay, I crossed over and did some real shit, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Talk to me about Long Beach. You don't still stay out there.
No, I lived in Long Beach till I was like 11 years old. I was
Okay.
on my family had a Thai food restaurant in Paramount, which is
Okay.
like Compton adjacent. Like there's like Long Beach, Compton, Paramount, Lakewood. Not important. But I lived in Long Beach till I was 10, and then I moved to Paramount to be closer to the restaurant. And yeah,
They still got the restaurant?
but they retired like 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's too
fire
bad.
Thai food though. You should have came through.
They
bro.
didn't try to pass it on?
Nah, I mean, I think they kind of asked me if I was like wanting to take over the family business, and you know, I was like, nah.
What are the numbers like?
The numbers at the restaurant,
Profitable?
It was staying alive,
Yeah.
but not worth really because it's restaurants
Taking your
like
eyes off the prize that you're working
Yeah.
on. With entertainment is kind of like,
Yeah,
shit, you really
man.
gonna be in a kitchen? Yeah.
nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
My parents were just tired too. You
Right.
know, it was time.
Damn, that's crazy. That's actually really interesting because we're sitting here talking about fucking working as YouTubers, and we're kind of forgetting about like what a real day's work is like.
Oh God, more than 2 hours of work? No, thank you, bro. Ugh.
God, life is so hard being an entertainer. There's all these people sitting at home thinking like, dog, I'm about to go to Denny's. I'm about to go do my shift at Denny's. Shut up.
I know, for real. They're like, dude, I actually have to lift stuff.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck
Lift
up.
stuff.
Ugh.
I know. I think about that every time I go to my personal trainer. I'm like, man, I could just be doing construction. I should be getting paid to do this.
No thanks. I gotta be outside. Ooh.
When's the last time you had a real job, though?
Last time I had a real job was California Pizza Kitchen.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, that was probably back in 2010,
Right.
something 12. I don't know. Who
That's
knows?
actually when I moved to Long Beach.
Was it?
2010. Yeah.
Oh, what part of Long Beach were you in?
East Side.
Oh, yo, I was on Cedar and PCH.
Yeah, I was by like Cherry and 4th-ish.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I used to go down to the bars, the Pike.
Oh yeah, Second Street and all that.
Did a whole lot of blow in those bathrooms.
I
let me tell
bet.
you.
I bet. I love Long Beach. I miss Long. Look, if I didn't have to, cause I'm in like, I'm in LA now. But if I didn't have to be closer to the entertainment shit, then I would have just bought a house in Long Beach, man. I love like Long Beach or like Cerritos. Man, I love that area.
Long Beach. You don't think that it's more likely for your house to get broken into out there than here?
Bro, my house got broken into like a month ago.
For real? What'd they get? Anything?
Hey, it's fucked up. I didn't even talk about it. Like, I wasn't trying to like vlog it, you know what I'm saying? Even though I
Yeah.
knew it would have got a lot of views, but I was like, let me not do that.
Ace family it real quick.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Hey, no shade, bro. I wasn't trying to do that. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think that they faked that robbery that everybody thought they faked.
Some
Do you
people thought
remember
they
that?
faked it. I'm for what? I mean, I understand for what. It definitely gets views, but
I feel like they're getting enough views. They don't need no fake robbery.
yeah, exactly. But so I got broken into maybe like a month or so ago, and they didn't get nothing crazy. They got my laptop and my
Right.
chick's laptop. They got some jewelry, which was annoying. But yeah, it was stupid.
Did you have a security system and shit?
Yeah, we had a security system. They were in and out, bro. We had like a package on the front, and then I guess they thought that no one picked up the package, knocked on the door, like
Oh.
broke in the back, and then they just in and out, snatched up whatever they could find, ran out.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did it make you feel? Scared as
Violated.
shit? Yeah, violated, right?
You know,
Like-
I mean, it's annoying. For me, it was kind of like, fuck, you know, like it's annoying.
But for your girl.
For my girl, you know, she's Canadian and shit. Like, and the area that she was from, she had never dealt with a break-in or anything like that, so she was shook. You know, for
Yeah.
me, I'm like, you know, when you kind of around it, you're like, it's fucked up.
And you're kind of she's more vulnerable, you know?
Super.
Say she was in there.
Oh, exactly. And she said
Lord
that
knows.
too, because
Yeah.
you know, like because she's Canadian, she's not allowed to work right now until we do the whole green card shit. So she would have been just home chilling. Luckily,
Right.
she wasn't home that day, but she was definitely shaken up. Yeah.
That's some scary shit right there.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
How did you
But-
meet your girl?
It'll be 8 years that we've been together next month, and actually today is 1 year since we got married.
Really?
Yeah, dog.
And how's that going?
Well, I'm spending my anniversary with you, so obviously.
Sorry, baby.
Nah, it's great. Marriage is actually lit.
Really?
Yeah. When people ask me, I'm like, you know what? It's pretty great.
Do you feel sort of separated from your younger, wilder self that you maybe were in touch with as a youngin?
Yeah, I mean, I do, but obviously,
It
like,
can't be an all bad thing.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have like gotten to this point if I feel like I didn't already get that out of my system and did my thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had a good time. It was fun. Did some reckless shit, and now I'm over that.
You thinking about babies?
In the near future, sooner than later, my parents are definitely pressing me hard
Really?
for some grandkids. Yeah,
Wow.
before we even got married, they were like, "Don't even get married, just give a grandkids, please."
I'm glad my parents have never got on my ass about that. That
Nah.
was so annoying.
Bro, my parents want grandkids so bad,
Yeah.
and then they really want twins for some reason, and then
Yeah, sorry, Mom. I'm not a miracle maker over here.
and my wife swears we're gonna have like 4 daughters. She says that all the time.
How does that sound?
I don't know, man. As soon as she said it, I felt a chill go out through my entire body. Like I was like, oh shit, she's right.
Really?
And every time I tell that to somebody, they're like, you know what that is, bro? That's the player's curse.
You're gonna have to become a monk. Because you're gonna have to do something to deal with the feeling of just knowing that you brought these women into the world and that
Oh
you're
my
responsible
God.
for them. That's got a lot of pressure right
I
there.
know, man. And men are trash. You know what I'm saying?
They're walking around with the world's most valuable resource between their legs, and you're the only one that's sort of tasked with helping them to understand what they have and how to protect it.
And they're gonna be like smart and funny and pretty and shit. They're gonna have booty like their mom.
Because they're going to grow up with parents that have way more money and nicer stuff and, more ability to do whatever than you did, right?
I think I'm gonna make them think we're broke until we're like they're like 12 though, because I feel like that builds character. You know what I'm saying? Because me growing up, it's like we did not have money, so it was like I felt like not having money and feeling like we had to struggle for some shit made me like a harder worker, made me more like motivated. So I want them to feel like, hey man, shit's fucked up.
I wonder when people who are like, because like me and you are seemingly in pretty similar situations where we both grew up with like no money,
Yeah.
and then managed to like get ourselves into a position where we're living a better quality of life.
Right.
I wonder what it's like when like people who grew up with money are sitting around talking about raising their kids, because I bet that they're just like totally. I bet that they think that everything we just said about wanting to raise your kid to not know that they're rich,
Yeah.
I bet that that doesn't make as much sense to them if they grew up rich.
Man, I think about that all the time, to be honest, right? Because like they probably feel like, oh, I'm down to earth, like I'm not spoiled, right?
Yeah.
But then at the same time, I feel like growing up broke just really kind of does something different to you.
It
you
grounds
know?
you, yeah.
Yeah.
We think because we grew up broke.
I mean, I guess that's all we know, right?
We got to come up with the most positive spin possible, but maybe someday we'll be rich enough that we'll understand that this is a diluted conversation, and actually growing up poor is just terrible.
I
for
tell
your
you, I mean, I
existence.
never met a rich young kid that I liked.
I agree with that, and that's the fucking crazy shit about being in Hollywood is you just meet more and more people like that, and it's always this sort of weird thing between you. It's just in the air where you just know, like, bro, you grew up with you had all this shit handed to you. Come on.
I don't even like when little kids want to modify their food orders. I feel like that's annoying. I remember when I was a waiter at California Pizza Kitchen. I remember this girl. She couldn't have been older than like 7, bro. Talking about, can I get it with the cheese on the side? And I was like, are you serious, little girl? Eat the fucking food, bro.
Right.
Why are you modifying? Who told you could modify?
Yeah. That's not your right. You can't do that. No, actually, but I grew up and my sister was the pickiest eater I ever knew, and she would always order a chicken sandwich with nothing on it. And so, even as a kid, I would just look at it and be like, it's just bread and chicken.
So you
That's
saying
disgusting.
white people go to restaurants and get it unseasoned?
That is the most white thing possible, is her going there and doing that. I mean, she was like 6, but still, yeah.
It's not even that they don't season at home. They go and request no seasoning.
I don't even know if I knew what seasoning was until I got much, much older. That's how white my upbringing was. No, I mean that's a weird thing to get into, because I went like my whole life without cooking, and then I'll just have like I'll make something with somebody, or I'll be watching. Now I watch a lot of cooking shows. I don't really know why, because I'm still not doing any cooking. But,
No, me neither.
But it's kind of calming, therapeutic in a weird way. But that's one thing you realize. There's a lot of salt and pepper, and that seems like that's kind of the gist of it. A lot of butter.
A lot of
just
butter,
sugar.
man. And you know, here's what kind of fucked up my cholesterol, right? Because I grew up thinking, if I'm eating fancy food or like just bougie spots, I'm like, oh, this shit's fresh, right? So it's like it's healthy for me. It's not fast food, it's healthy. But then you don't realize they cook it in so much butter to make it so good. Yeah, my cholesterol is like kind of high right now.
It is. You've
Yeah.
just been eating out too much?
I mean, now and then I do the food show too, so it's like, I mean, the last time I went to the doctor, which was probably like a year and a half ago, she was like, "Hey, so your cholesterol's not, it's not like high, but like, let's say I'm supposed to be between here and here, and I'm like right here,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like, trying to get healthy.
That's actually the one thing I wanted to ask you when you're doing the cooking show. Because like for me, the way I eat is I will like literally like if me and my girl go out to eat. And this is really what got me into trouble, and this is why I fucking have to be on this diet right now and everything. Is me and my girl will go out to eat, and I got into the habit of ordering like 3 appetizers, 2 entrees for myself.
Right.
Then she's getting whatever, just because like we got money now. I'm looking at the menu like fuck it, man. Let's get. God, I went to Australia with a couple of my fucking friends, and I saw how much money I spent on going out to eat afterwards, and I was like, wow, that's no joke right there.
Well, Australia's is expensive though.
But this is very true. But what I'm saying is when you're going to doing the food cooking show and everything, are you just stuffing your face like the way that I'm used to going out to eat? Or are you aware of the fact that you have to save your appetite for the day and you're just kind of nibbling?
Yeah, no, definitely aware. With that, first of all, let me say that's how I got fatter too. Is because when I started getting the money, I wanted to order 2 appetizers, an entree, dessert, all that shit. The shit we could never get when we were younger, right?
And when you start to think like, well, I want to get a salad, but I don't know if the salad's going to be good when I'm Postmates, so I might as well get this too, so that I can kind of make sure that I get
Everything.
something I'm hyped on.
Just
That's
in
a
case.
dangerous mentality.
But yeah, when I do the food show, I always keep in mind I'm gonna be eating for like the next few hours. So I try to like bite, pass.
Yeah.
Maybe give it to. Sometimes my chick will come, so I'm like, "Hey, baby, you want the rest of this or whatever." My dude that I shoot the show with, he tries, but he has a problem putting it down if it's really good. Like we did an episode at Smorgasburg in LA, and there's a sandwich spot there called Ugly Drum that does these crazy pastrami sandwiches that are so fire. And he was telling me about it. He was like, "Bro, you gotta go. You gotta try this. Blah blah blah." So we're eating it on camera. I took a bite. I was like, "Yo, this is amazing." I was like, "But we gotta put it down. We
Right.
got the rest of the show to do." He ate the whole fucking sandwich. So by the end of the episode, he was like about to puke because on top of the sandwich we had been just eating all day. He's like, "Oh, I couldn't do it, man. I had to eat it."
Yeah, that's a tough decision because like food is like that, where you sort of know that you're making yourself sick and you're doing something. It's such a weird thing to be passionate about, to have as a hobby.
I know.
Because you sort of know, and it's fleeting. You do it, and that's actually kind of the cool thing about social media and the show is that at least you have a record of what you ate.
Yeah.
But most of the really expensive or delicious meals I've eaten in my life, I forgot about almost immediately, right?
Really? I mean, most of them, right? Except for this duck in New York, bro. You gotta go to this one spot, bro. It's so fire.
The only ones I remember, oh, dude, we were just in London. We went to the spot called Duck and Waffle. It's just like Roscoe's, but it's all duck.
But it's duck instead of chicken? Damn.
fire.
That's crazy.
I stand that place.
See, okay, you know what I just realized? Because I've always been under the impression that the food in London was trash whenever I went. But I have yet to go to the bougie spots in London.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, if you wait till 11 p.m. and you want to get food in London, then you're pretty much choosing between the fried chicken spot, the kebab
Dixie's.
spot, maybe some pizza. It's not great.
I remember I was doing a club show in London, and the promoters, they took me to this spot, and it was like kind of like a fancier hometown buffet, right? It was like you go, you get your cut of meat, and then like you put your little sides of the mashed potatoes and your gravy, whatever. And I came back, and I thought I had a moderate, like appropriate amount of gravy on my shit, right? And everyone else's shit was like drowning in gravy, right? And they were like, "It's so dry, isn't it dry without any gravy? You don't barely have any gravy." And I'm like, "Bro, what are you talking about, right?" I cut into my shit, it's dry as shit, right? And I'm like, they're like, "'Cause you don't have any gravy." I'm like, "Bro, let me tell you something. If you cook this shit right, you don't need to drown it in gravy, bro." They were like, "Oh," I'm like, "No, I'm not talking shit. I'm telling you, this shit's whack."
You know what the problem is that all these Englishmen, they eat these. I feel like they don't eat that much. They spread their meals out like crazy, or they're used to like, you know, you go to like a breakfast spot in England. It's like everyone thinks it's normal to get like a coffee and like a scone for breakfast, whereas like typical American breakfast is like, nah, it's like hella protein. But by the way, the English breakfast, the full English breakfast
with the beans and the tomato and like. Yeah,
I could eat that forever.
Yeah, I enjoy that too.
My favorite thing
It's
in
a
the
little. It
world.
looks weird at first, right?
I mean, the beans freak you out a little bit. Maybe
Yeah.
the black. What's the black shit? It's like heart or something. It's like blood pudding.
Oh.
That's what that is, right? Black pudding.
Black pudding. What's in that?
Black pudding.
Eh.
It doesn't taste like pudding, so I don't know what to tell you.
Another time I was in England trying to ask this dude that was driving us around, like, yo, what's like a London delicacy, bro? Like, what do I need to eat out here, like, that y'all specialize in, right? And this dude had like a weird accent. I don't know where he was from. His name was Segar, right? And he was like, oh well, borados. And I was like, what's that? What's borados? Like, that's some English shit. He was like, yeah, borados. He's like, you could have like mashed borados, baked borados. I'm like, you talking about potatoes, bro? You telling me to eat some potatoes?
Just giving
mashed
you a food that is consumed in every country on earth. Wow, that's hilarious. Holy shit.
Shout out to Segar.
I feel like when you go to London, though, there's a big emphasis on just getting like Indian food.
Yeah.
Or even Thai food is really popular.
So the Indian food and Chinese food and Thai food in London is popping. And then of course Nando's. You fuck with the Nando's?
Big Nando's.
Yeah. Bro.
Man, Nando's. You know the original name was Chicken Land?
Really? Is this
That was the original name from back in
when it's South Africa?
Was it South Africa? Yeah.
Chicken Land.
Chicken Land.
Wow.
That was the original name. Because one day we were eating so much Nando's that we felt the need to go on the Wikipedia article and just learn everything we could about Nando's, and it was very exhilarating. They have a black card. That's what I'm holding out for. I want that Nando's black card.
What does that get you?
Free Nando's for life.
What?
Yes.
They got them in Chicago and Maryland, but not in LA.
Not yet.
I heard a rumor that Wiz likes Nando's so much he was trying to open up one in LA, but he couldn't for whatever reason.
See, that's what at first I was thinking. I'm like, maybe I can open a Nando's. And then I'm like, you know what? There's so many people that probably have way more money than you that are way more popping that have tried. I bet.
Hey man, I'm gonna send some emails and I'm gonna hit you. Let me know if you're trying to go in on opening up a Nando's.
I just want an explanation for why they can't open the Nando's here, because it's like if you're when you think about In-N-Out, I was actually reading about In-N-Out the other day, like the whole In-N-Out business model. And how tightly and well run it is why they don't just open up stores left and right.
Oh, they don't want it to get sloppy.
And it's like just their business operates very, very differently than like McDonald's, because McDonald's like owns all the real estate and everything too. So In-N-Out's kind of working in a different way, and I think we kind of forget that a big part of why we love In-N-Out is because it is really high quality and it's kind of limited, and it's like that is part of the brand's identity.
Yeah.
And you could really say that about Nando's too, is that if all of a sudden there was a Nando's on every corner, it would probably start to feel not so special. You
know what I started doing, bro, is I would buy a bottle of, because you can get the bottles to go. I would buy a bottle from when I would go to Australia or London and just eat it with some El Pollo Loco.
See, there you go.
Yeah, man.
El Pollo Loco, not bad.
Oh, Pollo Loco's fire.
Yeah.
Slept on. Super slept on. I don't think people give a Pollo Loco enough credit, to be honest.
For a while, I was ordering, what was it, Baja Fresh?
Oh, Baja Fresh.
Off Uber Eats, and I thought it was just some local chain, and my girl was just like, yo, that's like fast food, right? And I'm like, I was like hurt, because I had been eating it for months and didn't know that it was like a chain.
You like my authentic Mexican spot?
I'm thinking I'm ordering from some family. I was hurt. That actually bothered me a little bit.
Baja Fresh also fire, though.
This is an extremely offensive question, but let's talk about Panda Express. Do you have any love for it?
I love Panda Express.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think as an Asian person, you can appreciate Panda Express. I hate the motherfuckers that are like, oh, that's fake Chinese food. Like, of course it's fake Chinese food.
Shit, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, duh.
Yeah.
Like, you don't go to Taco Bell for authentic tacos.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's Taco Bell, and then there's like, fucking like Leo's Taco Truck. Right. You know what I'm saying? And then there's Panda Express, and then there's like real ass Chinese food.
And to be honest, having been to China a bunch of times, I don't really want to see the fast food version of what is typically being eaten in China. I don't really think it would like swap over well.
Hey man, I mean, I haven't been to China either, so I don't know, but I feel like it's probably fire as well, whatever it is.
Great food, but it's just not, it's probably not stuff that would really appeal to the average American.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. And like, definitely, look, I love going to like a Chinese restaurant, you know what I'm saying, getting some like Peking duck or some egg drop soup or whatever, some real shit, and then, but every once in a while, I'll be in the mood for just some orange chicken and some beef broccoli from Panda Express,
right.
The combo rice and noodles.
Can't be mad at it. Actually, it kind of fucked me up because I had it in the airport recently, and it was like 30% worse than it normally is. And when you're dealing with Panda Express, you don't have 30% to play with.
Yeah.
Because the hard lo mein, that was rough for me.
And the orange chicken was probably extra stuck together and shit.
Yeah, it just wasn't quite there for me.
Yeah.
So what are you working on at this point? What do you got in the pipeline that you're excited about aside from you got the podcast?
Podcast, No Chaser podcast. If you people, every once in a while people comment like No Chaser, like they're like, you trying to copy No Jumper, and I'm like, bro, first of all, they're completely different shows.
That's
like
funny.
my show is more sex and relationships, and I always felt like No Jumper, like I feel like it was more like a music driven show.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So people like at first when I launched it, they were like, oh, bro, you trying to like copy? I'm like, come on, bro, listen to the shit first.
You know what
I'm
I was thinking? Note to staff is we got to find a good no dumping sign and just rip that off. Why didn't we think of that? I saw a no dumping sign with a dolphin the other day, and I was like,
just hanging back here.
that could look cool.
Yeah,
Not here, just on the side of the road.
I mean, you need some ambiance over here.
But
dog.
but it's kind of confusing. You think we do?
Maybe.
Just the all white ain't doing it anymore. I mean, I've been doing this for so long with nothing in the background that it's just like weird to even think about what it would look like if there was something in the background.
I mean, if this is working for you, it's all you need, dog.
No, yeah, it's going fine. But wait, what was I saying? No dumping.
Oh yeah. No jumping. Shout out to No Chaser podcast is my podcast, and then the food show is keeping me super busy. Send Foodz is keeping me busy, but aside from that, I'm working on my first studio album. It's in like 6 years. I was rapping under the name Traffic was my rap name for a long time, and then I kind of put the music on the back burner to just focus on other shit like the comedy shit and Wildin' Out and other stuff, and I'll be doing my first album like rapping as Timothy DeLaGhetto. I was keeping them separately at first because I didn't want people to think I was doing like comedy music. You feel me? So I was doing comedy under one name, rapping under another name. But I feel like at this point people know what I do. You feel me? So doing that.
Makes sense.
And I'm trying to write a movie.
Really?
Yeah, because I feel like traditional media is really beginning to look at new media as a little talent pool now, but not everybody with a following can necessarily write and act, and they know how to navigate that space. I feel like I've always kind of done that on my YouTube.
Yeah.
So I think I kind of have like a leg up in terms of getting into the room and pitching ideas and writing scripts and shit.
You feel like the market is opening up in the sense that Hollywood kind of wants to tell well thought out Asian stories at this point? Is it becoming something that they seem a bit more interested in when you do these meetings?
Yeah, Asian people are popping now, bro. Diversity is the wave.
Diversity is big now.
Especially for Asian people. So it's like,
as a white man, tell me. Let me tell you. It's hard out here. No, it's just fun. I see it. I see y'all getting all these opportunities. I'm mad as fuck.
Oh my God. That's hilarious. But yeah, it's a nice little Asian way. Crazy Rich Asians definitely opened up a lot of doors. So I think people are more open to even not necessarily telling Asian stories, but just using Asian people as some regular shit. I mean, the movie I'm writing isn't necessarily an Asian story. Like, it's just kind of a story I'm writing, but there will be Asian people in it because I'll be in it. Yeah. And I think it's definitely easier to get in the room now than before.
Yeah, definitely. That's interesting. Yeah.
I mean, I knew Crazy Rich Asians would do that too. Like, I was telling people, even if it's whack, I'm gonna tell people it's dope because I wanted to make money.
Are they supposed to do a sequel to that?
They probably are, because I know there's multiple books. The movie's based on some books, so yeah.
There was like a Crazy Rich Asians like restaurant on Uber Eats or some shit for a while. Did you ever see that?
Nah.
No, that freaked me out. I forget what it was called exactly, but it was on there and it was weird. But we ordered it and it was good. But,
that's good.
Whatever.
Whatever.
Yo, I appreciate you coming on, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, dog.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, you come on my shit.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Wait, actually, that's one thing I wanted to ask. How did you come up with your co-hosts on that show?
Oh, so my boy Ricky Shucks, the portly black gentleman.
So that was just your boy from beforehand?
That's my boy from high school.
Oh, wow.
He's always been in my YouTube content. Always helped me like write sketches and be in sketches, shit like that. And he always has something like smart to say. And Nikki Blades, who I've known for a long time, she's from the Bay Area. She's a Wildin' Out girl, or she was a Wildin' Out girl, and she also does radio in the Bay Area. So I just thought she'd be good for it.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's it.
That's dope. Yeah, she was funny. I was listening to her talk about wearing makeup at the gym. But she said she wears limited amounts of makeup at the gym, because that's something I think about all the time.
Yeah, because, it's important.
You see girls wearing makeup at the gym, and you're like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, I know how long that shit takes to put on, and this is just not responsible.
It's all for the pictures, dog.
But why are you taking pictures in the gym? The gym is the one place you shouldn't be taking pictures, I think.
So you can hashtag, gym life and fucking always something. I don't know.
I'm a new hashtag never not working. I'm new to following you on Instagram. So am I to expect a lot of gym selfies? Is that how you get down?
No, I'm I seldomly post the gym selfie. I got to be really feeling myself.
I never do. I've never posted anything in the gym. I'm embarrassed because I'm like, I don't look like I'm in the gym. I look fat.
I know.
It's not fair.
No, dog. Wait till the shit starts showing results. Then you're gonna be posting them. I posted. Look, I honestly, I went to the gym for the first time like 2 months a little while ago, and I had a nice little pump going, and I was looking extra sweaty because I sat in the sauna. It wasn't even sweat. I was just wet.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm feeling myself, bro. I'm gonna post this shit.
Man, I don't know if I could post a wet pic. Like a pumped muscle / wet pic. That's a lot going on. I don't know.
But then, no, the hack is that you just gotta post some shit about like, you know what, I'm just trying to better myself, or I'm on this journey right now to get healthy. Then it's okay. Then it's not narcissistic anymore.
Do you know what is the best shit is like when Game posted the dick print?
Right.
Because that's something that you have access to as a man that a girl can't really do so much. It's like a camel toe is not as well received, but a dick print.
But you know what? People should appreciate camel toes. I love a good camel toe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like whenever I see a girl with a nice camel toe in a picture, and I see these dumbass 12-year-olds in the comments like leaving fucking camel toe emojis and God,
Yeah.
like,
Shut up! I'm trying to see that.
Yeah, like, are y'all dumb? Like her whole coochie is out.
That's
Why are
literally
you-
a vagina. It's
Yeah.
just covered by a thin piece of fabric.
Silly
Like,
ass little boy.
It's fine. Observe that.
Kids.
Take it in.
Take it in,
That's what
stupid
you need in your life.
youngins. They don't know.
Idiots. Appreciate everybody who watched this. Timothy DeLaGhetto, No Jumper. Coolest podcast in the world. Check us out on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes. Like, comment, and subscribe, and hit up nojumper.com if you want to get some gear. Appreciate you, man.
Word.
Bam. Take care. Peace.